We're covering the time zones on this episode. We've got Bill Konway coming at you from Kentucky. Shags is back home in Missouri. And I'm sitting in a parking lot outside the airport in Vancouver, British Columbia. We're bringing our old friend Bill back on to talk about photography, the pain of land management, and a few other things that we're all doing this summer. I'm Brandon Butler.
I'm Nathan Shags McLeod.
I'm Bill Konway.
And welcome to the Driftwood Outdoors Podcast. Nailed it. Well, I was getting ahead of myself because last week it was episode 301 where Brandon and I sat down and just reminisced about the 6 years of doing this podcast. And it dawned on me, listening back to it, that we didn't acknowledge the Missouri Conservation Heritage Foundation and Tricia. And they've been with us since day one. So I feel like we did a bit of a disservice to them. So I'm giving them a huge shout out and just how much we enjoy going to the Missouri State Archery Tournament every year, and everything Tricia and that organization does is pretty phenomenal for outdoors here in Missouri. So just wanted to give them a quick shout out since we forgot to mention them last week, talking about all the stuff that we've done over the past 6 years, and didn't take long for us to lose Brandon, and he's back.
Well, I'm going to have to figure this out on my phone because it's going to want to close down the app here. So we'll figure it out as we go. But yeah, Tricia and the whole Conservation Heritage Foundation been incredible supporters of us, not only supporting the podcast, but sending a lot of good people our way. And how much fun has it been to be part of that NASP tournament over the years? So I think we did talk about that a little bit. And if we didn't, then I don't
remember. And I went back and listened to it because it is one of the my favorite things we do each year is go down to Branson for that state archery tournament. That's always such a good time. Get a little fishing in, broadcast or record from right there on the floor. Now we got extreme close-ups. I feel like we're in Wayne's World right now. Whoa!
Well, I tried to go over to a Marriott and get into a break room, but they've got some politician there, so the fourth floor is closed off, right? Which is just my luck. So my girls are shopping in the premium outlets. You're just gonna have to make do with me on vacation from the parking lot. So.
Well, yeah, Brandon might be in and out on us here, Bill,
it's looking that way.
Yeah. So why don't you just give me your origin story? I know you and Brandon have been friends for a long time, but if I'm being honest, I really don't know a lot about you other than you're an outdoor photographer. Like, kind of give me your origin story of who you are.
I started writing hunting and fishing stuff for a newspaper in Chicago back in, it'd probably be the mid 80s. And, it was mostly Lake Michigan stuff, salmon fishing, perch fishing, stuff like that. And, never could get a photographer from the paper to go with me to shoot a picture or something for the column. So they offered me $15 a photo if I'd shot my own. And so I was doing that for a while. And the guy finally dragged me into the darkroom and says, look, we're going to just show you how to process and make your own prints so we don't have to do it anymore. And so my entire formal photography education was about 15 minutes in a darkroom, jotting notes feverishly on a notebook. 5 minutes in this, shaking every minute, 7 minutes in this at 72 degrees, and on and on. And the paper got bought a couple of times. I ended up at the Sun-Times, and I left after about 20 years, went out on my own probably 14, 15 years ago, and I'm still at it.
Man, that dark room, that's a lost art. I don't even know if you could find one anymore.
Probably not.
I remember we actually had a class in middle school, a photography class, and they taught us how to do the dark room and do all our own film and photos. And I mean, I always thought that was so cool in there with the red light and dipping the prints and all the solutions and your negatives hanging up in there and trying to see which one's the best. I mean, that was always very exciting.
Yeah. When we at the paper, when we switched from film to basically digital, I'd come into the office in the morning. It was about 7 or 8 in the morning, and everything was normal, the way it had been for years. And I came back after shooting my assignments that afternoon, and the print room, which was a pretty large room, about half the office, was no longer there. The walls were gone, everything in it was gone, and there was a table sitting where that room was with a computer on it. And I'm, probably hadn't seen but a half a dozen at that point. And so we were trying to figure out what to do. And the guy says, you can go home when you get your negatives into that computer. So my computer training was probably just as long as my photography training. So my entire educational background is 30 minutes.
So do you miss the old style of photography? Or, I mean, it's so convenient, and to be able to like instant feedback from looking the back of those digital cameras to kind of help you move or take a different angle or maybe change your ISO. I mean, it's pretty easy and impressive now.
Yeah, it is. I honestly, I don't miss it. I mean, occasionally I miss the newsprint ink on your fingers and, the smell of the fixer.
Yeah.
Which, once you've smelled it, you never forget it.
So now we got Brandon on 2 different cameras. I'm not quite sure what's happening here.
He's looking pretty angry in both.
One is frozen with a scowl, and the other one is.
We're making it work.
I don't know what's
going. We got the good and the evil Brandon.
Oh, that's too funny. Wonder if I can get rid of that one, or if that's gonna. There we go. Now we're down to 3 pictures.
Nice.
Oh, this is funny. You would think we'd have had this figured out by now.
It's only been 6 years.
Proof that we'll do it from anywhere.
Yeah,
work must go on.
That's definitely true. So, Brandon, what are you even doing in Canada?
I have had no plans, which has been kind of the best part. So my cousin Jamie and his wife Jackie moved out to Seattle, and wanted to take a trip with my daughter. So we came out to Seattle and just decided we wanted to see they'd never been to Canada. So Bailey's trying to knock countries off of her visited list already. Kid's 20, just turned 20 2 weeks ago, and I think we just hit our 8th country. So yeah, we came up to Vancouver, which I've always heard was nice, and there's cool parts, but man, the homeless problem up here, it's just really, really sad. Like, we talk about it in Colombia and other places that we've seen homeless, but there was a road going north out of Vancouver, kind of a downtown Vancouver road that, man, it really looked like something out of a apocalyptic movie. I'm talking thousands of homeless people, thousands of them, like on the streets, on the sidewalks, all the buildings covered in graffiti. Just, it was like nothing I had ever seen before. So there's quite a few homeless in Seattle, but nothing like what I've seen up here in Vancouver. So we decided to boogie out of there, and we went up to Whistler, which I've always heard was beautiful. And my gosh, it was breathtaking. It rained the whole time, but still, just walking around in the Whistler Village, and Bailey ate sushi. My 20-year-old now is like, she's had a salad and sushi, so she's really graduated in this new decade she's entered. But yeah, we hiked out to a waterfall today, and yeah, it's been nice, man. Like, no agenda, no plans, just kind of bouncing around the Seattle to Whistler area. Now we got 4 more days in Seattle. So
yeah, that was kind of a rite of passage growing up in the corner of Oregon. When you turned 18, you drove like the 6 hours or whatever to cross the border and go into Vancouver, because it was, the drinking age was 18. So we'd go up there and we could drink legally and go to some adult entertainment, if you know what I mean, some clubs. And yeah, we had a pretty good time. I'm not gonna lie. It was
That's
me
kind of
and,
like our Wisconsin.
yeah, yeah. Me and Spanky and Fritch and a bunch of us headed up there, and I'm surprised we were still friends because we were young and dumb, and it was a
But look,
long road trip up. We're really excited, and then a real long hungover trip on the way back of everyone bitching and moaning about people bailing on each other and backstabbing, and it was
They must be
a
trying
pretty
to up their
ridiculous
game
trip.
in Canada now because the age is 19. So Bailey got a
Oh
drink at the
wow.
restaurant last night, and Annabelle couldn't because she's not 19 until August. So
Maybe that was because of us being a little too rowdy back in the late 90s.
there's definitely summer runoff happening right now. The rivers are real, they're just rushing torrents. They're real milky. We found a few very clear, beautiful streams that make me wish I'd brought a fly rod with me, but no fishing on this trip. I could see myself wanting to come back up here and hit these salmon steelhead rivers in the future, though. I've read about a lot of them, but seeing them, driving over them, pulling off on some side roads and just kind of trying to stare into the water. This area is just gorgeous up here. We were in Bellingham, which everybody raves about as a top, outdoor city in the country, about as far north as you can go before you hit Canada. And I just, like when we went out with your dad, Shags, on the boat to try to get Dungeness crabs and stuff, that kind of a fishing lifestyle just appeals to me. That ocean, not like out in the ocean, but saltwater fishing close to shore. These guys up here have Dungeness crab traps everywhere, and that it's kind of the same as where you're from, I suspect, with what people are after. So I tried to order some clams. I was a little disappointed. I was thinking I'd get a big plate to they called them surf clams, but I think they just stole them from Long John Silver's. They were they called them surf clams, but they were more like Sam's Club clams. Nothing special about it.
Sam clams.
Yeah. There's a big seafood fest in, I think it's Ballard. It's a part of the Seattle communities. It's right on the ocean. So we're going to the seafood fest this weekend. It should be fun.
Yeah, we went to a restaurant in Florida on Pine Island, and it was like Captain D's or something like that. It was just it was a one-off place, and ordered the fisherman's platter, and you had clams and you had, I don't even know what was on there, but there was one fish that I couldn't identify, and I'd asked her what it was, and she told me the name. It was like sway or swai or something like that, and it turns out it was Vietnamese catfish.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're on an island in the Gulf, and you have to get fish from Vietnam.
Yeah.
So
that reminds me. We really enjoy watching like Gordon Ramsay shows and him going into restaurants and like screaming at them for them mismanaging them. And there was some that were right on there. I can't remember what city they were in, but it was a coastal city, and they were talking about their fresh fish. And he went in there, and it was all frozen catfish from Vietnam. And
yeah,
he lost his mind because they were out there just lying to the customers, telling them they're like, "Oh no, this was just caught today."
I've actually got some of that in my freezer at home, and I felt guilty living right on the Missouri River where everybody catfishes, and I wanted to have a fish fry, and ended up having to go buy catfish from Vietnam in the market, in Howard County. So
you coming out for Beast Feast?
If you go into a restaurant anywhere and you order catfish, there's a good chance that's what you're getting.
You coming out for Beast Feast? We got real catfish.
When's that?
September 13th. It's a Saturday, or whatever that Saturday is around the 13th.
So Annabelle moves into college August 20th. I become an empty nester, man. So I don't know what I'll be doing. Like, maybe.
Come on.
There's no reason I can't,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
What is
I want to get over to West Virginia
Beast
and do
Feast.
some.
Well, I mean, explain I've never heard of it. What's Beast Feast?
There was a group of us, 5 or 6 guys, and we were all on the local RMEF banquet committee. And after one of the events ended, somebody says, there ought to be a way we can all get together like more than once a year. And somebody says, well, I was going to, clean out the last couple pieces of venison in my freezer and grill it up. And guys, well, I've got 2 or 3 pheasants left over. And so we picked a date, and there was about 30 of us showed up, and we cooked everything we had left over in the freezer. Then the next year, we ended up with about 60 people, and the following year was 120, 140. Our biggest years were just over 500. And
Wow.
but it's just a bunch of wild game. And we've moved it to Kentucky since I've come down here. And we picked a really bad date the first year. It ran concurrent with some big events around here. Last year we ended up with about 60. And it was kind of nice. We had the 500. You're out there and you're outside cooking and sweating, and you've been working for 3 days for this. And you look up and everybody's laughing and drinking and eating and talking, and you go, I don't know a single person here, because like your group of friends was like 40 people, and they're dispersed in this giant crowd somewhere. So getting back to, the 60 or so we had last year was kind of nice. You kind of knew everybody, and it was a good time. So we're doing it again. Be our 3rd year here in Kentucky. And
So I was one of the originals at the first one, and I watched it grow as well. And it went from us hanging out in the Iceman's garage to like you had to go through like the line like you were coming into a roller coaster at an amusement park. Like they had to funnel everybody through so you could get some of the food. But I haven't been to one of the Kentucky versions, but sounds pretty good to think it's gone back smaller.
Yeah. I'm suspecting we'll have like 80 to 100 this year, and that'd be just fine.
So,
The coolest thing that everybody pointed out had nothing to do with the food. There was probably 12, 15 little kids running around, and they spent the entire night chasing frogs, picking up rocks out of the creek, playing with turtles, riding bicycles. None of them ever picked up a phone and texted or Facebooked or Googled or anything. They were just into like being kids, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
So I am kind of curious, how did you guys meet and become such good friends?
We met
ours.
That's always a good way to start a story, with a laugh.
Well, it's more of an irony laugh than a funny laugh, but we were actually at a conference in St. Louis for POMA. It was 2009, and it was POMA was the Professional Outdoor Media Association, and it was one of those deals where somebody was like, hey, Bill, you're from Indiana, and Brandon, you're from Indiana. You guys probably know each other. And Bill's like, nah, you'd never have heard of where I'm from. And I was like, well, try me, And he said, Leroy? I said, yeah. So Leroy's what, maybe 200 people?
Like, maybe.
Right outside of Crown
I think it's
Point,
less than that.
5 miles away. But before I could drive a car, I was dating a girl from Leroy. So I had bundle up on my 4-wheeler and ride my 4-wheeler, over to Leroy to see her. And there was a whole crew of people that were from Leroy. So I knew Leroy well. And after that, we just kind of hit it off. And we haven't got to it yet, but Bill's a industry photographer, one of the best in the industry, well known for a lot of different brands he shoots, probably best known for Real Tree and being their staff photographer. And with me being, a male model, it was just perfect that
Zoolander.
We just hit it off perfect.
Yeah, it worked out to be a good friendship.
Yeah, Bill actually turned me into a male model, and it actually became a really good icebreaker for giving speeches, because I was always like, executive director of the Conservation Federation, syndicated newspaper columnist, and male model. And people would look at me, and then I'd show one of the Real Tree effectiveness ads. I was like, this is how a short, fat guy gets to be a male model, is when the whole goal is to make you disappear in the photographs. So
cover him in camo.
And stick him back in the woods, and still let him call himself a male model.
He got thrown back into it. This last winter?
I was gonna say
stopped by kind of out of the blue. I found
Yeah,
him
my
sleeping in his
favorite.
truck in my driveway at 4 a.m.
Yeah. Well, I decided I was gonna drive from Washington D.C. to Southeast Kentucky through the night, and that was not smart. Like I came across all those West Virginia mountains on no sleep. I mean, just kind of burning it across. I left Washington D.C. at like 10 p.m. and got to Bill's house around 5 a.m. I didn't want to wake him up, so I just slept in the driveway, and snow started falling down. He said, "Get up, we got to shoot pictures." I was like, "All right."
Yeah,
So,
they turned out
and
pretty
they
good.
turned out to be some of my favorite pictures I've ever been part of. I mean, he had me up in a tree stand, with the snow coming down in the hardwoods, like pretending like I was bow hunting. So it was pretty cool. Did those make it into magazines, or I know they used them a lot online?
I've seen them on social media. I don't really look at any magazines or anything.
Do magazines still exist? Is that still a thing?
I think there's 2 or 3.
Magazines, kids, used to be these pieces of paper all smashed together where you could read stories and look at pictures.
Yep.
At one time, it was the only way you could get content when it came to the outdoors, hunting and fishing. It's where you went to learn tips and tricks. And
Yep. There was no Google.
it was the WWWs before the WWWs.
Yep. Yep.
Speaking of the old interwebs, I finally gave in and made my first Chat GPT image. Have you guys started messing with this at all yet?
Oh, yeah. I use it quite a bit.
It's insane. Like,
I tried just for kicks and giggles. We were at a meeting, and we were talking about Chat GPT or whatever that is, AI. And they said, yeah, you could even put a raccoon on a guy's head or something like that. So I chose to do me. So I guess that's a bobcat, not a raccoon. But here was when I asked for, you kind of get that image from it, and then you add in stuff, telling them how to correct it and stuff. And this is when I quit. So those are my first 2 and last 2 efforts at AI.
Well, for all 3 of us being creatives, working in content creation, it's pretty scary to think where this is going. Now we use it for editing the podcast now and putting out reels and stuff, but I'll tell you what, if you're a photographer or you're a graphic designer or even a writer coming up, you might want to look at finding a new means of employment, because we recently paid to have some logo work done, but I told Chat GPT to make me this logo for an adventure company, and the logo turned out better than I could have imagined, and it took about 20 seconds for the whole thing to happen.
Oh, it's so fast.
It's pretty scary. Like if you were studying graphic design right now in school, like I don't know what you're gonna do other than use Chat GPT better than other people. But it's pretty. What do you use it for, Shags?
Well, I do. I'm trying to find the picture now because I needed a logo for my co-host Trevor, and a buddy of ours are going on a motorcycle ride across Missouri and then go check out caves. So last year it was 2 dudes, 1 waterfall. They did the same trip but went to go look for Missouri waterfalls. So since it was caves, I joked it was 2 dudes, multiple holes, that they were searching Missouri and Mother Nature's holes, the cave system. So I asked ChatGPT. I put a bunch of stuff in, some different pictures of the 2 guys, and it came up with a stellar. I'm trying to find it really fast.
Well, here's the one that I did. I told ChatGPT I wanted Driftwood Adventures, and that's what it came up with based on what we did, and it was perfect. I just couldn't believe it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Shags, are you riding on the back of Trevor's motorcycle?
So this is the one that So it put them on the same motorcycle together, which was very, very entertaining.
Yeah. Is that going to be you on the back of Trevor's bike?
No.
You got your own bike?
I've never been good on two wheels. That's a hard pass for me. I'm not
So
a
you're
motorcycle.
not riding?
No, I'm not a motorcycle guy. That's old Silverback with the Hooligan Charitable Riding Group, and Trevor are doing that trip. They do it each year.
So I threw a bone to the charitable riding group. I sold my Harley last week. Pretty happy about that. Get to send the money to Mizzou. Hope they're happy about that. But the woman that bought it, she probably weighs 110 pounds, maybe 5'2", and she bought this Heritage Softail Classic, and I guess she's ridden it. She says she's pretty new to riding, so I gave her a brochure for those guys and said, do you have people to ride with? And she said, no, I don't have anybody to ride with. I said, well, these are a really good group of guys, and she said after her last divorce, I don't know how many there were in that string, but I was like, you'll probably fit right in. So, single woman with a Harley, I sent her their way. So there you go, guys.
Oh, that's funny. But no, I use ChatGPT too to like, even I'll copy and paste like a super long story and just be like, give me the bullet points. So then I have for the show and stuff, like I don't have to sit there and highlight 5 different pages of, a sentence here, a sentence there, that type of thing. Like it'll just fire it right out for me.
Yeah, that's what. Have you used it in any photo editing at all, Bill?
Nah, I mean, there's some built into Lightroom, and I've used that a little bit just to like mask areas. Like if you want to enhance or darken the sky or something like that, it'll automatically separate the sky from the rest of the image. And on skies, it seems to work pretty well. On people, or they call it subjects. On subjects, especially with camo, it gets a little wonky. It gets easily confused.
It's pretty wild to think that what we have now is the worst version. That it's only going to get better. Like each day, it's getting better. And like you had mentioned earlier, Brandon, like when we edit this, and then I use the Descript AI, and then it fires the cameras, so it will go from camera, person. So I don't have to spend all day trying to figure out who should be the center of attention now, or who that. It makes it so much easier. It's incredible.
I'll bet. I've got 2 fruit flies that have been flying around here since this started. I have no idea where they came from.
Well, keep that heater up by your face. The smoke keep going.
They didn't seem to mind it.
That thing looked tasty. It's been over 2 years since I've had a ciggy, and I still have a craving now and again. What's your brand?
Smoking those Marlboro Blacks.
Oh,
the lighter version of them. It seems I'd smoked for a long time and quit, and I'd quit for about 6-8 years, and started smoking cigars and realized they were too damn expensive. So I was supplementing cigarettes, and so now I've lost the cigars and unfortunately retained the cigarettes. Do you remember that trip up to Michigan, the Council of the Car?
One of my favorite photos I ever took was Conway smoking a cigarette with like 4 boxes of Shantix in his center console. I was like, we should be able to sue Shantix for this. Like it clearly works well.
Yeah.
Well, that was my problem too. I learned that lesson because I was an off and on again chewing tobacco and cigarette smoker, and I'd quit, and then I was like, all right, and you'd get 6, 7, 8, 9 months underneath your belt. And you think, all right, well, let's have a cigar on this float trip. And then you have 1 or 2 cigars over a long weekend. And then you come back in the real world and you don't start smoking or chewing again. And you're like, okay, yeah, I can do that. I can be a casual cigar smoker. And then just the time period of smoking those cigars shortens until suddenly you're like, oh, I'm going to go buy a pack of cigs. And then I was just right back to smoking and chewing again. And Having a major stroke will definitely change your views on nicotine. That spending 4 or 5 days in the hospital recovering from that and got past the withdrawals and haven't had one since December 5th of 2022. But I'm not going to lie, my buddy's still chewing everything, and I like to take a smell of the tobacco in the can. I'm that weirdo. Like, here, let me see that can. And
come here, bring your mouth over here. Let me smell you.
yeah, if we were in the same room, I'd be like, hey, blow that over this way. Just let me get a little waft of it. And then
downwind is the best place.
Well, the worst thing about cigarettes is how good they are. You know, like I've never been a smoker as far as like a regular smoker. You know, there'd be times in my 20s that I'd buy, you know, a few packs in a row and then I'd stop or whatever. But just on this Boundary Waters trip, I had a few of my cousin's American Spirits, and man, damn if they're not good. Like I find myself wanting to go buy a pack, and I'm like, okay, that's proof that I can't go buy a pack. But they are.
I might have some of that Shantix left.
Yeah, clearly works extremely well. Like,
well, that was just a wild
model. You should be a male model for Shantix.
That was supposed to be an antidepressant, and then they just found out like people stopped smoking while they were on it. So then they pivoted and were like, oh, don't worry about it being an antidepressant. This will help you stop smoking instead.
Yeah,
shoot.
Just drive your car off a cliff. You won't smoke anymore.
So how's the industry? We're talking about AI. We're talking about the future and technology, like, and you being a photographer. I mean, where do you see the industry going in the future?
I'm hoping it picks up. It seems like everybody's really afraid of the tariff thing and all these other things. And I think marketing people are typically nervous people.
Because they're the first to
go. Huh?
Because they're usually the first to go.
Well, that could be. Mm-hmm. I know one of my clients, they lost a bunch of people. I think they lost 20 out of the marketing department.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they kept me. So I'm happy about that. But no, I think it's going to pick up. And I don't know.
Who are some of the brands you're working for right now? I know other than I said Realtree, but
yeah, Realtree, Pulsar, Browning Trail Cameras, Stoger, Benelli, Banded, Waterfowl. I don't know. I think there's a couple others. Then there's a handful of companies that are day work companies. You get 1 or 2 jobs a year from them. I don't necessarily call them clients. I just call them day work people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I am kind of curious how that works. Then, do you have every day a checklist of I need to do this, this, and this for these brands, or do they just reach out to you and go, hey, we need pictures of this trail cam or this new camo shirt, or how
the best clients go, hey, here's our new product, go do something cool. And the worst ones go, we want this shirt on a guy who's got blonde hair with sideburns down 2.5 inches, and we want him to be 138 pounds, and he's looking left 7 degrees, and it's like that kind of takes all the fun out of it. But I've been shooting a lot recently for Pulsar. They've got a handful of new products, and it's challenging because a lot of their stuff being thermal imaging stuff is nighttime stuff. So trying to show black scopes and black thermal monoculars and binoculars in the dark is a challenge, but it's been kind of fun. It's kind of gotten the juices flowing a little bit. And they've got a new product called the Dark 30, and it mounts on the roof of your truck or on the roof of your side-by-side, and you have a remote inside the cab that makes it pan or tilt up and down, and you have it looks like one of those big iPads. It's probably a 12-inch screen that you can hold or mount onto your dash, and you can go through the fields at night without headlights on. And it's a little nerve-wracking initially, but it's pretty cool.
Wow, pretty cool. That is wild.
So they use them for hog hunting and stuff like that. Deer scouting, also for ranching, cattle farms if they lose some cows at night, stuff like that. It will pick up a human, I think, at 2,500 yards, or resolve a human at 2,500 yards, which is pretty good ways.
Yeah, that's wild.
So I've been having fun with that stuff.
Do you do any photography just for yourself? Do you sell any of your like landscapes or anything like that, or are you just straight
No,
commercial?
I get a kick with when it's not work. I typically shoot with my iPhone, and I love using the iPhone. It's always there, and it's kind of got a look all its own, and I find it fun.
What's your
Well, it's hard to
favorite
beat, man.
camera?
Like-
Are you a Canon or are you a Nikon guy? What's your?
I'm a Nikon guy. Nikon kind of screwed me. When I was at the paper, our pool gear was Nikon, so I knew where all the buttons were. This button was the shutter, and this one was the exposure compensation. This was the mode. So when I left the paper and had to go and buy an entire kit, I went with Nikon because I knew where the buttons were. And the next year they changed all the damn buttons. So it's not to say I would have went with Canon, but I'd like to have known they were going to move stuff around.
I always joke on here because I do just kind of recreationally shoot some weird photos, and I blame Andre Agassi being an 80s and 90s kid. Like I'm a Canon all the way, always have been, always will be. It's hard for me not to. Marketing works, people.
The first camera I actually shot with and used for pictures for the newspaper was a Kodak camera. It was a 35 millimeter rangefinder. And then I went and bought a Canon A1 or A1 program or something like that, and shot with that for a number of years, and kind of upgraded at some point to like F1s. And I was using my own gear at the newspaper, and I got a shift where they brought me up to the main office in Chicago, and it was in the afternoon, and they'd sent me to a high school soccer game. And I'm in the office talking to this fella, and I says, I've never seen soccer in my life. I don't have a clue. And he goes, oh, it's just real simple. You just sit on the bench, and, you sit there with the 400, and you just follow the ball back and forth and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, I don't have a 400. He goes, well, there's a pool 400. Go grab that. I said, well, my cameras are Nikons or Canons. And he says, well, I'm working in the morning. Take mine and just leave it here tonight, and I'll pick it up in the morning. So I grabbed his camera, I grabbed that 400 millimeter lens, and went to this soccer game, and come to find out that Nikon focuses opposite. This is before autofocus. Nikon focuses opposite of Canon. And I'm shooting a sport that I've never seen before in my life, and I was struggling to see anything in focus. I mean, I had by the end of the game, I had 6 rolls and maybe 2 frames reasonably in focus. Well, we come to find out he forgot to mention, because I've always worn glasses, and he did too, but not when he's shooting. He had his diopter correction screwed into the back of the camera. So I was shooting through my prescription plus his prescription, focusing backwards at something I had no clue what was going on. And
I can only imagine you doing that, going, what is going on here? Like, not being able to figure anything
That was my first Nikon experience. Wasn't good. But,
oh, that's too funny.
So yeah, that's kind of the history of the Nikon thing. And now I'm just too old and stuff to switch.
Yeah, you talked about the iPhone. I've got a nice Nikon body, and I've always tried to use Nikon because of Bill, and it's just like having a sports car it can't drive, I leave it in and it's like 10 pounds to carry it around with all the lenses and stuff. The iPhone fits in my pocket. I rarely ever find that I need that heavy camera, other than shooting deer at 100 yards or 200 yards with a long lens. But the iPhone just takes everything I want, and the pictures usually turn out better than the photographer can take them. So
Yeah, you know, if I'm out doing something with the family or having fun or whatever, the last thing I want to do is work. So I would never bring cameras and stuff. But the iPhone's pretty handy. We even shot the eclipse here last year with the iPhone, which wasn't great, but I got pictures. I was there.
Well, Shag, this is totally changing the subject, but I think I want to know, and I think our guests are wanting to know, did Mr. Kehoe RSVP to the wedding?
Not as of right now, but I haven't checked in a while, if I'm being honest.
We interviewed the governor a couple of weeks ago, and Shag's on camera asked him to come to his wedding, invited him to his wedding. So
really,
I'm just wondering, like, what our security level is going to be at this wedding now.
Well, it's going to be high because I'll be there, but
I bet he shows.
I mean, we'll see. I was taking a poll, and some people say no, some people say yes. I think it helps that we have a lot of mutual friends that have RSVP'd, so it's not just him showing up. That, you know, Sarah Parker Polly says she's going to go. Her and Scott and Bruce and Jan Sassman have said they're going. Representative Tim Taylor has already RSVP'd, so who knows? We'll see. But all you could do is invite.
I don't think I've RSVP'd yet.
I'm surprised Brandon hasn't invited you. I feel like he's invited more people than I have to our wedding. When I say our, I mean my fiance and I, not Brandon and I. Jesse.
Who have I invited?
Jesse?
Yeah, but he lives in New Mexico. That's a safe one. He's not coming. I think Jesse's the only one. Oh, shit. And I don't think I invited him. I told him that if he asked you, I'm sure you could come.
And I wouldn't hate Dubell showing up. I've never got to meet the guy, and I edit his podcast, the Iva podcast for the New Mexico Wildlife Federation. So I feel like I know the guy. I sit and listen to him for hours on a time each month editing the podcast. So Jesse, if you're listening, you're invited. You can show up.
I told you, buddy. I told you. So I'm 1 for 1.
Brandon guilted me into it.
He's calling in right now.
My daughters are like, well, why aren't we invited? And I keep telling them, well, you're invited under the family invitation. So
yeah, I didn't know they needed individual invites.
That's what I told them. I was like, you're invited by the family invitation.
The proxy.
So, man, my dad just left. He didn't feel good the whole time he was here, so it wasn't the best trip for him. He was coughing real bad, but we got that beam put up in my house. It's amazing how good my dad is at that kind of stuff, but you know, he doesn't listen to the podcast, so I can say this. At 73, I think it might have been the last get up on scaffolding and do crazy projects, you know. It was hard on him, but we got a 26-foot long beam installed in the vault, in the peak of my vaulted ceiling. So now I've got the Frank Oberle table that I bought at the CFM auction. Now the matching beam is the walnut in the top, and the bookshelves. It was pretty tough to get that thing. Like, you know, we did it in 3 sections, and we had to go up and screw a board into the vault, and then drop an internal kind of frame off of that and screw it in, and then get that beam lifted up as it was already put together on 2 sides and the bottom, and kind of tapered to fit to the top of the ceiling. We got that up there, but we had all this 10-foot scaffolding up, and it was pretty wild. But for anybody that's listening, I know, Bill, you know my dad. It was really cool to get one last good piece of, you know, woodwork that he constructed and put it up. But it was also a little bittersweet because it's the first time I ever saw him kind of struggling to do that kind of work, you know. Mm-hmm. So I think it's the last time I'll ever ask my dad to get on a ladder, do anything like that. But pretty thankful for how good it turned out and how neat it is.
Yep, I'm sure.
Yeah, my first time getting to meet him was down at Brandon's old cabin when we were like building it. And I am not very handy. I'll be the first person to tell you that. I cannot nail or screw or anything like that. But they got me on some scaffolding, and I'm supposed to be, because I'm tall, drilling the tin into the ceiling. And I'm watching his dad down there like build a bathroom. Like it was just concrete, and I'm watching him like frame it, and it's coming together in front of my eyes. I've never seen anything like it before. A one-man wrecking crew. No one was helping him, and he was like, like it was just being built in front of me like some Minecraft thing. And I'm up there just shooting screws at him because I can't even screw in the tin into the beams. And I felt so bad because he kept looking around because it was like bink, bink, bink. These screws keep flying off down, raining down on him, just getting in his way. And man, that's a very fond memory of mine. It still makes me giggle. They finally just moved me out to the saw because I can measure on a tape measure and mark off measurements and just go and then hand a saw or hand the board in through the window. But yeah, that original, hey, I need you to do this, didn't quite pan out for anybody.
Yeah.
I'm debating walking my computer into the other room to show you my current project. I'm not sure how well that would translate bouncing around.
What are you working on?
A chicken coop. Stacy wants chickens.
Savannah was talking about wanting chickens.
I've made it large enough that I can sleep in there when it becomes necessary. Not if.
Your women want the chickens. All you got to do is provide the coop, and hopefully you get free eggs for the rest of time.
Yep. Yeah. Should I walk with this computer over there?
Yeah, let's see it.
Let's see.
I'd like to see it. I'm curious. I got a buddy at work that has them, and I don't know if it's worth the hassle or not.
It'd be better if your buddy at work would just give you his eggs.
I know, right?
That's
what
you want.
See?
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
It's coming together nicely.
Yeah. I don't know. Eventually there might be a chicken in there.
Some eggs.
Yeah. I got to figure out that part. Putting in
for those people
boxes.
That know you, Bill, that are listening, some of them might not realize you relocated full-time to Kentucky. Tell people about your place, where you're at right now, and how they can pay you money to come stay with you.
Well, we're in West Liberty, Kentucky, which is about an hour and a half east of Lexington. So we're in the foothills of the Appalachians. And we've had the main portion of the property for about 14 years. And we just purchased the home that belonged to the fellow that we bought our piece from. So now we kind of own the entire howler from the road to about a little over a mile back and goes ridge to ridge.
Pushing 300 acres or so?
It's like 220, 230, something like that.
Wow.
And we turned his house into a vacation rental, VRBO, Airbnb, whatever. And so now we're part-time innkeepers. I feel like Bob Newhart. But it's kind of cool. It's, you meet a lot of different people. Most of them are pretty nice. And they've come for all sorts of reasons: vacations, hiking, no good reason, funerals, weddings, Christmas, Thanksgiving gatherings. It sleeps 14, so we get bigger groups.
Oh, wow.
And it's got a wraparound porch and stuff, so it's kind of nice. Wow.
I've always had people say how they thought it was a good idea until they did it and realized how much work is actually involved. Especially when it's like on your property and I'm assuming you guys are the ones that are cleaning it and just upkeep and all that. You don't have a group or a company coming in and doing it.
No. We actually had a call. It's kind of funny. It cost me $225, but we had a group come last minute. I think they showed up Monday. And while Stacy was cleaning the house, she noticed the bathtub downstairs wasn't draining. And we tried 4 different varieties of liquid plumber or whatever, and all sorts of other things, 2 different plungers, and just wasn't draining. And finally called the plumber, and he'd been there before, but he'd come out and he walked over to it and he looked at it, and the little toggle thing on the front of the tub, he pushed that, I guess, down, and all the water went out. So somehow in the process of her cleaning it, she knocked it up or whatever. And so it was intentionally not draining. So his visit was about 7 minutes and $225.
Easiest fix for him ever.
Yeah. He says he'd just come from replacing a broken down or fixing a broken down septic tank.
Oh.
And he says, yeah, I like this job.
Yeah, I got really lucky that one of my friends is a plumber. I've made friends with a guy here in town, Brian Ware of Brian Ware Plumbing. So anytime I have an issue, we're actually going, I have a little single wide trailer that we joke is my vacation estate down by one of our favorite state parks and one of our favorite rivers to fish. And I got a bathtub down there that won't stop leaking. So this weekend we're going to go down and I'm going to take him out fishing and take him to dinner, and he's going to fix my plumbing in the trailer for me. So
good deal.
One of the perks.
I'm pretty certain I could have fixed this one if I was able to diagnose it.
I'm sure you won't make that mistake again.
He walked up to it and he looked at it and he went flunk, and it just started draining. Like, damn it. Never crossed my mind.
Oh my goodness, that's too funny.
So,
looks like we lost Brandon once again.
Yeah. But we've been doing a lot of work with the state doing this hack and squirt stuff, trying to kind of bring the property back to the way it was a long time ago, getting rid of a lot of the trees that they don't have the, they eat up a lot of canopy, but they don't produce for as much as they use. So we did 95 acres on the north side, and we got rid of all the maples, the beech, hornbeam, some sourwood, some black gum, stuff like that. And we averaged 1,100 trees an acre. And so we were just, I think, 102,000 trees we killed. And you kill them with a hatchet. You take a hatchet and you ring the tree with hatchet marks, and then you spray a chemical in there. And then the tree dies. So, yeah. So I've been spending this spring wallowing in glyphosate and falling down hills. That's how I get my fun.
Do you guys have a lot of critters on the property then? A lot of wildlife?
Yeah, I'm kind of at war right now with a raccoon who's got into our garbage every night for about the last 3 weeks. And I think we're getting closer to finishing it. He may win.
It makes me think of The Great Outdoors. I don't know if you remember that old Dan Aykroyd, John Candy movie.
The bald bear.
Yeah, those raccoons always laughing at the people and coming and getting in their trash.
Every time I come up with a new idea, that's what I think about. The damn raccoons laughing at me behind a tree. But
that's too funny.
We've been putting out the dog-proof traps, and they still rather have 4 bags of garbage than a sardine. So I don't know. I think we need multiple more garbage cans, and just put something on the lids to keep them from being able to open them. I think that's going to be the solution. So I'm going to have like 12 garbage cans.
You need one of those night vision goggles. Sit out there with your little 22. Call those people up and be like, hey, I need one of them prototypes down here.
Yeah. I've got a bunch of friends that come over and they see all this stuff sitting on a shelf, and it's like, have you ever sighted those in? I'm like, dude, I've never even put the battery in them. And it kills them that all that stuff's there and it doesn't get used. I'm like, I take pictures with it.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Trevor, my co-host for the radio show, likes to give me a hard time because I own more guns that I haven't shot than guns that I have, but I just keep buying them because, like, well, why wouldn't I? Just add to the collection. Like,
You keep
you gonna go
winning
shoot
them.
that one? I'm
You
like,
keep
probably
winning 'em.
not.
Stacy's the
Right?
gun winner
You don't
here.
buy
I
'em.
think she's won like 20 some guns at banquets and NWTF and stuff like that.
Yeah, I went on a bit of a heater. I mean, it's funny because everyone's like, you win every single time. I was like, no, you were just at the banquet where I did win, because I've gone to so many that I've never won. That was always my joke. If I had spent the money on raffle tickets and that kind of stuff, I could have bought a gun case and filled it with guns. And I had like 2 banquets where I won multiples, and everyone's like, you win every time. Like, I don't. It finally came through for me once.
Yeah, her last one was a oh God, what's the name of it? It's a 45, 1941 style 45, and it's got a built-in laser. Real common company. They make great guns. I just can't think of the name. Starts on a K, maybe.
Kimber
Pro Carry 2 or something. And then she won a DPMS AR-10 and handful of shotguns and some other pistols. So yeah, she's weapon wealthy, and she makes a point whenever somebody looks at something, she goes, I won that. That one's mine. So
Yeah.
I've got like 2 and I can never find them. So
Oh, that's funny.
yeah. So what you guys are doing a gear review?
Oh yeah, we got that coming up. But first we got to get to the mystery bait bucket. Brandon, you got any more questions? We're closing in on an hour here. Or you just want to go into
No,
mystery
I got
bait
kids
bucket?
that are begging me to. The kids are begging me to come find them in the mall, so I got to go.
All right.
It's like hide and seek, ain't it?
Yeah.
So what we got
because I
here
didn't give
is
them a credit card.
vintage.
If I gave them a credit card,
I was gonna say, you got to put one of those air tags on your credit card. Piece of cake.
They got some shopping carts full of stuff that Dad needs to come in and buy. That's what's happening. But what you see here is a vintage antique bait bucket, and we like to wrap up every podcast with the mystery bait bucket question. It was just a question submitted by you, the listener. So if you would like to have your question answered, and very rarely does it have anything to do with outdoors, it's just a fun way to wrap up the podcast, you can email info@driftwoodoutdoors.com, or you can send us a message on Instagram and Facebook at Driftwood Outdoors, or leave a comment on the YouTube Driftwood Outdoors TV. This one comes from Carl Woodward. If you could instantly know the absolute truth to one question, what would you ask?
what happens after you die?
Ooh, that's a good one. Mine was kind of similar. It was like, how did it all get started? Like, how did this all? How did we be? Or I mean, are we in a simulation? What are we? What's going on? How did we all get here? What is this crazy thing we call life? This planet? How did it all start? Probably would be mine.
What did the big bang out of?
Yeah, if that's what happened, I'd be kind of curious. It'd be a trip for him to say, "Oh no, you're actually just in an alien's bedroom, is his little ant farm. He just likes to watch all of us down here argue and scurry around and go to jobs and like, oh well, shit." I definitely should start fishing more, I think.
No, shoot.
How about you, Bill?
Off the top of my head, who farted? But I don't know. I'd have to give it a little more thought. He didn't put a time frame on it, so. But what's the meaning of life? What's the secret of life or secret of happiness? What did I drink last night? I couldn't be limited to one question.
How many fish have I missed?
In my case, it's more how much do I miss fishing?
Yeah. All right. Well, final thought, the final cast of the pod.
Just always good to catch up with Konway. Thanks for making me a male model.
Yeah, anytime, man. You need to come back. Bring the kids.
Brandon talks very highly of you. It was great to actually sit down and get to visit with you. And
he lies.
Yeah, hit your socials.
A lot.
Yeah.
Your
website, all that stuff before we get out of here. Where can people find you?
BillKonway.com. Conway's with a K.
All right, I'll put that.
And it's on the Instagram's the same and Facebook's the same.
I'll put it in the show notes as well.
Sure.
Appreciate you taking the time, man. We'll let you get back to your whiskey and your ciggies. And
yeah, make Brandon bring you out. We'll have a good time.
Yeah, I'd love to. I already Google mapped it. It's only an 8-hour drive, so
yeah.
I'm down.
I've got a pond that's got nothing but bass in it. If you want to catch a bass,
I don't hate it. I'd definitely do it.
And a pontoon boat with a muskie lake real close.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Actually, we took the boat out for the first time in 2 years.
Well, we can troll up some muskies.
That's a bucket list fish for me. I'd like to catch one.
Me too.
Cave Run Lake. Do a Google search on it.
All right, guys. Gear review coming up next. All right, Brandon, into the podcast, the beginning of a gear review. What are you reviewing for us today?
I finally made it to the Filson flagship store. So everybody knows I've been a
finally
Filson
made it to the
guy
Filson
for a long
flagship,
time.
and then he froze. I know how much he loves that brand
I get
too.
made fun of for my.
I wonder if he's still talking about it.
I made it to.
Well, while we wait for Brandon to
made
come
it to
back,
the store in Seattle
I'm
where it all
wearing
started.
mine.
And
It's
got
the
a
best
couple
sandwich
cool
shop
pieces of
possibly in
clothes
the
and,
state of Missouri. It's out of
it was
Branson.
really neat to see
Mythical
you
Witch.
can see some of the sewing, some of the factory.
Like going down the main drag into the strip or down to the landing. It's a little shop right off and to the left by some of the antique shops down there. And Savannah and I just stumbled across it. And actually this year for the MONAS, the state tournament down there, we stumbled into it. And it's nothing but like 90s alternative with crazy stuff on the walls. The music playing is all weird 90s, like one-hit wonders. Like I walked in, I was like, this is me. And the sandwiches were so good, so delicious. And I just loved the shirt. I was like, I got to get me one of those too. So if you're ever in Branson, it's the same people that do Getting Basted, Brandon. The same company owns Mythical Witch, greatest sandwich shop possibly in the state, but definitely in Branson. All right, Brandon, get back to your Filson review.
I just made it to the Filson flagship store, where it all started on First Street in Seattle. So got to go in there and hit the clearance rack, bought a few things, but it was just cool to finally make it to the mothership for Filson.
Well, I know how much you enjoy that brand, so I bet that was pretty cool.
Yep. All right, we'll see you down the trail.
Yeah, man.